Yeah, sure. Good morning. Thank you very much indeed.
Good morning.
My normal procedure, given the sensitivity.
I'd like to thank you for coming back. It's really important to be rectified. It is understand very seriously. Thank you for your willingness. This comes the opportunity for the committee to be able to do that. But I not been adequate enough to demonstrate the seriousness of the enables the work of the committee to and also
Cafe on December 5th. Support for and defence of the role is based on reflection on the nature of certainly my at the time is no, it's embarrassing for us, but we feel we have to explain it. For full explanation, the CEO and I are providing a timeline from both an operational perspective personal perspective, attempt to cover a mosaic meeting in a Wellington cafe has resulted in the executive relationship with this new government at a critical time in the company's evolution, reputational damage for a range of individuals, and potential damage to 8 years of, I suppose, hard work to rebuild the company from a position it was in 8 years. I suggest the why, when and how obvious that the problem is not the meeting, it's the problem of deception. The action taken once we were faced with this was inevitable. What we knew on March 24th, and on March the 24th, but once I'd like to see it go away, but we couldn't, so we had to take the action appropriately. So in the relation that the damage Paul will speak to the committee from questions. Paul will answer, and I'd like to say though before we roll into Paul's statement and company a period of years operation will start as high as it's ever been, as well as we possibly can, the circumstances, and to feel in any way that we've been needed. Paul.
Thank you. I am sorry that I set the record straight, but I'm very happy to do. I sincerely apologise for misleading you. Based on information I believe to be true. A tough time for us, as Richard. Sure, that our independence and are intact. If you want a sign of that, you just need to be independent, confronting around that. I think that, and our commitment as an independent news organisation. The meeting was interference with our integrity, and then, as Richard said, the fact that we were not happened made it. What we're trying to do is be and make sure we. But just to go back to that other point, sure, RNZ. Going to keep doing our job.
We are looking at that strength of commitment to a charter on which you operate, which is impartiality, independence, balanced reporting. Your words here today. It has been a dramatic. The problem is not the meeting, but the cover-up of it. Certainly, that meeting would be of a matter of concern regarding the impartiality.
But I absolutely agree. Anything that happens that creates even the impression or the perception of a threat to our independence is a major concern. So I agree.
Thank you for coming back, and I realise that it would have been quite a difficult one, and I thank you for the statements that you've actually made in correcting the circumstances, or actually the timeline has actually been very helpful. I remember the conversation we had very well. I remember both Mr. Griffin and Mr. Thompson flicking me off almost as if, that was just a very simple breakfast.
We both feel very foolish.
And so we are here today. So tell us, as Mr. Chair, Mr. Young has actually said, it is not the meeting that's the problem, but it is, isn't it? How does a state broadcaster, how should a minister engage with RNZ? It is not through the head of news or the content, but it should be through the chair and the CEO.
Absolutely.
Right?
No question about that at all. In a sense, when I say it was prosaic in the sense two people met in a cafe. Thus, our but 4 times, and probably over a series of several levels.
If I remember,
We trusted it absolutely. This was a executive we paid very highly, 30 years of experience with. As far as I was concerned, totally trustworthy. She really and I and the rest of the board. And I'm not. I can't understand as why. She spoke to
She gave me repeated assurances at the meeting had bumped into and had talked. I also asked for discussion about what gave me.
Meeting, and that's where you left it.
I wasn't there, Miss Lee. I found out from.
We're going to know what was discussed.
Okay. So you had spoken. Never asked her how many times she met with.
Yes, I did, and I was. Yes.
Now that times you've actually 4 times, you were lied to 4 times.
Yes, I do. I do. Otherwise, and other information, it's very hard to differently.
The truth is, Melissa, we wouldn't have known about a deception, and it was a deception, until I was advised in Wellington on Wednesday the 21st that we were on a very rocky road to damnation, because essentially we'd been victims of a political theatre, and unless we did an OIA to the Minister's office, we'd continue to be.
So when you're talking about political theatre, let's actually go back. Are you aware of any communications, including emails or texts, other than the ones that was already published in the media, around the Astoria breakfast setup, before and after that meeting?
No, we're not.
You don't. So you are aware of the discussion?
There is a possibility the Minister had contacted another staff member prior to a meeting with Carol Hirschfeld. Actually, there's more than a possibility. We know that she had, in fact, contacted another staff member, but who's to know what the circumstances were?
When you say contacted, is it a phone conversation or did they actually have a meeting?
Apparently, it was a phone conversation.
Phone conversation.
Talk to that.
Please.
A staff member informed me that the Minister had contacted her regarding a job. The offer had been rebuffed. The matter declared as appropriate. The person did the absolutely right thing. And this happened in November.
Offered her a job at the Minister's office?
I offered her a job. But I mean, the point there is that what happened then is exactly what should happen. It should be I should immediately be informed, and I should talk about it, and I had no need to take any further steps because it was handled appropriately by that staff member.
Okay. So when you're talking to Clare Curran, you would normally assume that when you call a staffer in, you have an issue that she's actually lied to you. So do you know, I mean, you can't just accept the fact that, we just had a meeting about high level stuff. Did you find out from her if the Minister, in fact, discussed RNZ Plus with Carol Hirschfeld?
Chair, can we just, look, these gentlemen have come in to make a point, they've come in to make a simple correction. That's been done. Now we're angling down an avenue that I think is inappropriate. Can we get your opinion on that?
Because I don't think it's inappropriate or irrelevant, because the correction has created further questions that need to be answered. Melissa, if you could just finish off on that, this isn't going to come back.
With respect, Chair, we are here to try and clear the air entirely. I don't want this to drag on. It's done enough damage already.
Yeah, I understand that.
So we're here to entirely clear the air, which we'd like to do.
Speaking to the point of order, Mr. Chair, that this is something that we did in fact discuss at the previous RNZ hearings, and RNZ Plus is something very pertinent to the annual review because it is actually in the plans.
I understand.
Thank you. So your answer is?
Could you ask the question again, please?
So when you talked to Carol Hirschfeld, did you find out if in fact she and the Minister discussed?
It was discussed, and Carol said it was a meeting of no consequence, that they about the media sector and about the new policy. That's what I with it. We talked about it in detail. I impressed upon her the importance of maintaining our editorial independence, but of course at that point I was being told that it was a coincidental meeting.
Okay, we'll now come to what you...
Thanks, Chair. Look, gentlemen, thanks for coming in. That correction for wanting to remain robust. And Carol Hirschfeld with that.
A press release to all staff advising of the circumstance as a matter of courtesy, which may be foreign to some in politics. I'm sorry, that's unnecessary. As a matter of courtesy, it was important, I felt, we should contact the MP who was an advisor that we can explain ourselves. So already at that spoken to the chair, pointing out the problem.
Conclusion, and what I'm wanting to know is what are your rules and procedures that are dealing with an opposition MP on employment or political matters?
Point of order.
That's a ridiculous question, with due respect.
Ask a straight question than that.
Well, I guess,
I'm not the minister.
what is the entity's rules and procedures around the chair having contact with an MP on employment matters or procedures?
We don't do it.
So why did you call Minister Lee?
Are you having trouble understanding? I called as a matter of courtesy on the morning of Tuesday, 3 minutes prior to the release of our press statement, to advise the MP who had asked all the questions around this issue that a press release was coming out as we spoke.
And you're saying that's a normal procedure?
This is normal courtesy, sir.
Courtesy, right. So it's not a procedure, it's a courtesy. Yes.
Why did the courtesy extend to only a single member of this committee and not the full committee?
I would have thought that was self-evident, given that Melissa Lee was the only person to ask any questions of any consequence around this issue.
So, Mr. Thompson in his comments just said, I think I've got the quote right, anything that creates the impression of a threat to impartiality is a concern. Now, you're a person who's very experienced in the world of politics and public affairs. Can you not see how communicating with an opposition spokesperson in your area before a public announcement is made on a matter as serious and as political as this could create the impression, let's just leave the reality, at the very least the impression of a lack of impartiality?
Mr. Wood, that's a ridiculous stretch. I've been in this business a long time. I know that courtesy is important to all MPs, and given the circumstances, it would have been extraordinary to leave the MP who had asked the only questions around this issue to find out via a press release.
Have you done that before?
Of course I have, all my career.
You will contact a single MP?
I will contact anyone who is directly involved if something is coming out that would directly affect their stand in the... It's just a matter of obvious courtesy. The suggestion that it's somehow... Let's not go any further. I'm sadly my blood pressure gets out of...
Statement of evidence to touches on this matter, so it's reasonable to examine it. The question I asked was about can
I
you
know
not
what the
see
question
how
is.
it create at least the very
No, I
least
do not.
impression of
No, I do not. Only the people with the political agenda who wants to make it look as some sort of sinister move. There's nothing to do with collusion at all.
Can you tell us what was said in that conversation by both parties?
Good morning, Melissa. I'd like to let you know that as we speak, a press release is being put to both the staff and the public that outlines our position following a series of questions from you at the Select Committee, to which we'll have to return. Melissa said thanks very much for letting me know, and hung up.
So this is a matter of courtesy too, because we really do need to clear this up. So I just want to be absolutely clear, Mr. Griffin, is this the only time you've spoken to Ms. Lee about this issue?
Yes. Without any possible, yes it is.
Right. So I still want to understand, have you discussed with any other opposition MPs?
I thought I just made it plain to you. I got in touch with the chairs. I got in touch with the chair directly. We knew the situation was impossible to back away from, and we had to now come back to the select committee.
Right,
So I called the chair on the Monday and said, this is the situation. I called Melissa at 10 to ensure that she also knew.
So I understand the courtesy of calling the chair of the select committee. I still don't understand the courtesy of calling a particular MP on the committee, given that all the communication should go.
Well, I'm not going to... I thought it was obvious by now what my situation...
Yes, another point, we are circling around this issue, and I think Ms. Griffin has
I want just really to carry a little bit on further on this. There is a whole lot of politics in this, as you have suggested.
Of course there is.
So I think there would also be a lot of concern around the fact that someone appointed to his role, a former National Party press secretary, was then contacted.
I was not a National Party press secretary. I was press secretary of the Prime Minister of New Zealand. It happened to be a national government. To suggest I'm a member of the National Party is just nonsense.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting you were a member of the National Party.
Well, you just described me as working for the National
Mr.
Party.
Griffin, you've asked for courtesy. Could we have some from you too, please?
Certainly.
right.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bloom.
Thank you. Are you aware of any documents that were provided by Ms. Hirschfeld to Ms. Curran at the meeting at Astoria or another point?
No.
Do you feel it's appropriate for a minister to meet with a staff member of a Crown entity without the chief executive or the chair being present, or without their knowledge prior or subsequent?
As I said at the last select committee, and I understand this is a continuum, no, it is not appropriate.
Okay. Just one last question, Mr. Chair. In your statement you provided to the committee, you mentioned that on Sunday I asked Ms. Hirschfeld for an explanation. What was Ms. Hirschfeld's explanation?
I'm sorry, would you repeat the question?
In your statement you provided that you say, on Sunday I asked Ms. Hirschfeld for an explanation.
No, I think you'll find that was the chief executive.
Sorry.
I, on Saturday, asked for an explanation from the minister. On the day before, the situation was put to Carol.
The statement you provided from the chief executive says, on Sunday I asked Ms. Hirschfeld for an explanation.
That was following a conversation that Paul and I had on Saturday when it was quite clear there was no going back.
Can you tell us what the explanation was?
Carol told me that the meeting had been diaried for the first time. So that was the moment when she told me what had actually happened.
And is that all she said?
Well, we talked about a lot of things because it was I conveyed the seriousness of what she was telling me, and I arranged to meet her the next day in Wellington. The meeting had been in concert, that they talked about the media sector and about the government's new policy in broad terms, and I said, you've got to come to Wellington tomorrow.
It wasn't an attitude that I... It was a very difficult conversation. As a consequence, we never got until towards the end.
In essence, the minister, as knew for a number of weeks.
She knew for a number of months.
A number of months that you had misled the committee.
Oh, I'm sorry, in terms of misleading the committee, she knew since March the 1st. Yeah.
And didn't contact you at all.
No.
And when you finally confronted her with that information on the 24th, she said, well, you should have asked me.
I would make the point that the night before we went to select, we met with the minister and officials in the minister's office. Within the meeting, the minister raised the issue of the select committee and that we'd be meeting the following day. I observed that yes, it was true. We looked to be having about 45 minutes with you. I said, is there anything of any concern you feel it necessary to raise with me or with us? Anything that you feel might occurred during that meeting that is of concern to you, anything that might impinge on what I hope will be a very successful meeting given our excellent results. In fact, the results were the most excellent we've ever had in all the history of the outfit. And the Minister said, no, there's nothing that I need to tell you or advise you of.
And so you felt deceived by the Minister?
No, at the time I thought that's pleasing, good.
No,
as you know, in the past, Minister and I have had several disagreements during the Select Committee meeting, so as far as I was concerned, Sally. Well, how do you... I feel disillusioned, and as I say, I'm a bit desolate that at the end of my term, I would interpret it as a pretty strong suggestion that I immediately send a letter to the Select Committee Chair. The Minister seemed to be labouring under the impression at the time she left the message that we were to appear that afternoon, that is on the afternoon of Thursday last, to give our evidence prior to Easter. So she made it very clear that she wanted a letter, or wanted me to write a letter to the Select Committee to be on his desk before 1 o'clock that day, which would then ensure that there wasn't a public hearing involving either of us. Of course, that was never a proposition that made any sense to me.
Well, you've got to have a very good reason to have a...
Well, just in terms of accuracy of information, the Chair has just made, he's made the comment that he was led to believe that the Chair didn't want a public hearing.
Mr. Speaker, to the point of order,
As a
it is
matter of
actually,
point.
it's part of the written statement.
Okay, his written statement.
Yeah, if you
Sorry,
on the
I'm
desk.
sorry, you can't...
It is on the desk.
Excuse me,
Because
Mr. Eagle, you
because
cannot...
the Chair told you, Mr. Chair, that he could not come here because he couldn't get a flight. I went to New Zealand, there were ones from Nelson to Wellington that day.
Were they?
But just be careful.
Sorry, Mr. Eagle, that is not a point of order, that is a point of disagreement. And you can ask as a question. Thank you, Ms. Goldberg.
I called you on mobile phone.
She will have it on her phone.
You have yourself
My response to the Minister was, apart from anything else, the meeting is next Thursday, not this Thursday, and I don't think it's appropriate for either Paul or I to turn up to simply offer a letter to the committee. I don't think that's an appropriate action under the circumstances. The only action we have available to us really is to appear before that committee. In fact, we couldn't appear today for not just the reason that we couldn't get any, that I couldn't get any flights, and I'm not prepared to debate that because the fact is we'd like to nail down exactly what we're going to say.
So do you have a copy of the voice message that could be flagged to us now?
No, I won't, but I do.
And was the implication, did you receive the implication that you shouldn't attend the Select Committee?
The implication was, as far as I was concerned, that it would be far more satisfactory to all concerned if we just sit on the table. I know your reaction would be, we'll receive the letter, but we expect... I know you're not in a position to demand, in the interest of transparency, what we want to do.
Question, a couple of points.
Sure.
I mean, the line of questioning suggested that for a period of time, information about the breakfast meeting had not been passed to Radio New Zealand and itself. Was in fact, I just want to confirm, your written evidence confirms that in fact the call was made by the Minister's Office on the 1st of March. That's correct, isn't it?
No one talked to me on the 1st of March, and
I can talk to that.
Can I just read from the letter from you? ministerial diary entry for December finds us on the 1st of March.
Well, it wasn't me, and I never knew about it till the 28th.
I accept that.
The police,
I give Mr.
police,
Thompson a bit of
the CEO will talk to that. If I'm
Yes, a staff member at RNZ received a call from a staff member in the Minister's office to say that there needed to be a diary entry. The information was passed on to me by my staff member. I talked to Carol about it again, and she again assured me that the meeting had been coincidental, and we had a long conversation around it. The point I'd make is that the information was second-hand. It wasn't formally raised through the appropriate channels, which would have been through the chair. I trusted Carol's word, and for me that was the end of the matter. And if you...
I just wanted to confirm that in fact the communication went from the Minister's office on the 1st of March, because there's a sort of perception that was created in the previous line of questioning that information was sat on for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yep.
In fact, it came through to RNZ on the 1st of March.
Yes, as set out.
It didn't reach Mr. Griffin
No.
within your organisation for several weeks, but it went to Radio New Zealand on the
Yes.
1st of March. Thank you.
Come back to Mr. Wood has actually mentioned the 1st of March. From 1st of March to the 22nd of March, I think it was the 2 times that the Minister's office rang RNZ to request...
No, on the, just if you look at the detail there, on the 22nd of March, I had a call from a minister who the minister was facing 3 questions, that it was possible that those 3 questions would impinge on the meeting of December 5. As pointed out, the staff's attitude was we will handle this appropriately, but we'd like you basically to stay out. I was gobsmacked, quite honestly, given that the information I'd received the day before I was taking with a grain of salt. On this occasion, I said to the staffer, so what you're telling me is there's a diaried entry, and you're now going to advise the House of that accordingly. I was advised that that was the case. What is this the circumstance now? The staffer said, well, we've been through the diary and we can pretty much assure you that the Minister has not misled the House. I said, I think that's the point. First, and we clearly, as a consequence, have misled the Select Committee. I was told, yeah, that was the case. I excuse myself from the conversation.
I'm going to get considering the fact that I had asked, and did she have a meeting? Actually, who did she meet? She with Carol Hirschfeld, and then subsequently at Select breakfast, and I know you actually felt really uncomfortable. You tried to, tell me that I was being silly.
I really believe no.
And then in the House, the Minister basically had to correct it was a casual breakfast, that it wasn't an official meeting per se. Would you consider being diary in the Minister's Carol Hirschfeld's initial CH and location as a formal meeting?
As far as I'm concerned now, it was not only a formal meeting, it was a contrived meeting.
And would you consider, for the public, people will be wondering, what is such a big deal about
Of course they will.
breakfast and a meeting? If you're having a formal meeting with, let's say, Dr. Panchikama, I would probably put it in my diary as Dr. Panchikama. Why do you think she was diary as CH?
I'm not going to speculate about the Minister's actions.
Was Carol Hirschfeld's position on RNZ Plus any different to yours or the Chief Executive's?
No, that's a canard. In fact, I can assure you, and I say this without any qualification, that both Paul, I, the board and the minister were on lockstep in terms of policy. The suggestion that somehow this was an erosion of trust between two of us and somehow the minister had a policy and we didn't. We had arrived after much talk at the evolution point where, as a matter of policy, the board, the management and the minister all agreed that we had to evolve a policy as soon as we were aware of what sort of money may or may not be available in the budget round. We had put forward 9 propositions in terms of planning to the minister, and we'd worked our way through the whole lot. We were well on our way to having a firm agreement. We didn't tell the select committee on our last occasion that our vision was somewhat different from the linear vision without knowing full well that the minister agreed.
To the best of your knowledge, was the Chief Executive's role discussed at the Astoria Cafe meeting with Carol Hirschfeld and Clare Curran?
I'm sorry, I'm not clear on that question.
To the best of your knowledge,
Yep.
was the CE's role discussed at the Astoria meeting between Carol Hirschfeld and
Well,
Clare Curran?
no one has any idea what was discussed during the meeting they had, apart from the 2 people directly responsible. I have no idea, Paul has no idea really, none of us have any idea what was discussed.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I think that ends our time with, I guess, a huge question.
Thank you.
Why there was so many denials for that meeting. Sorry, time's up.
No, it's not a question. Could I request all communications, including emails, phone records, text, and voicemail, between Clare Curran and Carol Hirschfeld, and also the voicemail message that you have, Mr. Griffin?
Yes, very much.
You've made the request.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, if I could just, the material chair that's been made available to the board, will that go to the media? We don't have any problems.
It will be tabled and released. Thank you.
Thank you.